The classic British sitcom As Time Goes By once brought millions of viewers heartwarming moments, gentle laughter, and a comforting portrayal of love and friendship. But behind the charming humor and tender storylines lies a far more bitter and somber truth, a reality where the lives of its beloved cast were gradually swept into the cruel currents of time and fate. When the stage lights dimmed and the applause faded into silence, many familiar faces who had once brought joy to audiences quietly slipped away from this world under heartbreakingly tragic circumstances. Some fought deadly illnesses alone, in silence. Others were taken suddenly by unforeseen accidents. And some simply faded away, their passing unnoticed until long after they were gone. Each death struck like a blade to the hearts of fans, sudden, painful, and leaving a void that can never truly be filled. The stories behind the scenes of As Time Goes By are not fairy tales. They are real-life tragedies marked by loss, suffering, and tears. Let us now take a haunting journey into the sorrowful truths hidden behind the show's golden glow, a somber tribute to the hearts that have stopped beating, yet still echo through the souls of those who loved them across the world. Judi Dench, born in 1934. Jean Hardcastle, also known as Jean Pargeter. In As Time Goes By, Dame Judi Dench portrayed Jean Hardcastle, a resilient, elegant woman who reunites with her long-lost love Lionel after decades apart. Her performance brought warmth, wit, and emotional depth to the character, anchoring the series with grace. Beyond the screen, Dench's life has been marked by profound sorrow and personal endurance. She lost her beloved husband, actor Michael Williams, to lung cancer in 2001 after more than 3 decades of marriage. The grief, she later confessed, was a shadow that lingered long after the public mourning faded. Though she has continued to act and earn acclaim, her declining eyesight due to macular degeneration has left her unable to read scripts, relying instead on friends and assistants to help her rehearse. The once sharp thespian now battles the quiet isolation of fading vision and advancing age, a far cry from the vibrant energy she once radiated on stage and screen. Her only daughter, Finty Williams, is an actress too, and has spoken of her mother's private struggles with loss and fear of losing her independence. Though Judi is still alive, her later years are touched by the pain of memory, of love lost, roles she can no longer see, and a world dimming around her. Geoffrey Palmer, born in 1927 d. 2020, Lionel Hardcastle. Geoffrey Palmer played Lionel Hardcastle, a dry, sarcastic former army officer turned writer, whose reunion with Jean in the show was as touching as it was humorous. Palmer's portrayal was understated brilliance, his timing impeccable, his delivery quietly devastating in its wit. But away from the screen, his death in 2020 marked the end of an era for British television. Palmer lived a quieter life than many of his peers, married to his wife Sally since 1963, with whom he had 2 children. Despite his success, Palmer was often overshadowed in public life. Never one to chase fame. His passing was sudden and largely private, his family offering few details, honoring his lifelong preference for privacy. The poignancy of his final years lies not in scandal or suffering, but in quiet dignity. Yet, for fans who saw Lionel as a symbol of steadfast love, his death was a quiet heartbreak. No dramatic farewell, just the echo of a voice that once made millions smile, now silenced forever. Maura Brooker, born in 1957. Judith Hansen, née Pargeter. In As Time Goes By, Maura Brooker gave life to Judith Hansen, the spirited and slightly neurotic daughter of Jean, whose search for love often provided comic relief and tender moments in equal measure. Judith was the quintessential woman caught between modernity and tradition, and Maura portrayed her with sensitivity and a light-hearted charm. However, behind the gentle fame she earned from the series, Maura has largely retreated from the spotlight. The most devastating chapter in her personal life came with the loss of her husband, actor Anthony Milner, who died unexpectedly in 2015. His sudden death from cancer left Maura widowed and devastated after over 3 decades of marriage. The couple had no children, and in the years following his death, Moira withdrew almost entirely from acting. Once a familiar presence on British television, she now lives in near anonymity, haunted by grief and the deafening silence left behind by a partner she once described as her home. Her career, once full of promise, quietly ended, not with scandal or failure, but with the kind of heartbreak that leaves no appetite for performance. Philip Bretherton, born in 1955. Alastair Deacon. Philip Bretherton brought color and comedic energy to As Time Goes By as Alastair Deacon, the suave, overconfident literary agent with a heart bigger than his bravado. Alastair's exuberant courtship of Judith and eventual softening into a reliable partner made him a fan favorite. Yet Philip's real-life path took a quieter, lonelier turn. Despite continued work in theater and television, he never achieved the leading man fame many had predicted. He remained unmarried and childless, and in interviews, he's alluded to the cost of devoting oneself to a fickle industry. As of recent years, Philip has chosen a reclusive lifestyle, living in the north of England, far removed from the television spotlight. Though no great tragedy has publicly marked his departure from acting, those close to him have said he battles a lingering depression, a slow, quiet descent into emotional solitude that followed the end of his peak years. The exuberance of Alastair now feels like a distant echo, a character frozen in time while the man who portrayed him drifts further from the stage, living with the ache of a career that never quite fulfilled its early promise. Born in 1963, Jenny Funnell brought warmth, wit, and charm to the role of Sandy, the loyal secretary and friend in As Time Goes By. Her portrayal gave Sandy a relatable vulnerability, often caught between youthful uncertainty and the wisdom of the older characters. Off-screen, Jenny Funnell's life hasn't been marked by dramatic public tragedy or scandal, but like many actors working primarily in theater and television, she has faced the quieter battles of typecasting and the shrinking roles for women in middle age. While she has continued acting, particularly on stage with the Royal Shakespeare Company, her screen presence faded somewhat, highlighting the industry's underappreciation of seasoned actresses. Though not touched by the same tragic losses that befell some of her co-stars, the slow erosion of opportunity and recognition in her field serves as a quiet sorrow, a kind of professional invisibility that too many talented women endure. Janet Henfrey, born in 1935, portrayed the ever-stoic and quirkily enigmatic Mrs. Bale, the housekeeper with a keen interest in the weather and an encyclopedic knowledge of maritime trivia. Her character, though minor in screen time, left a significant imprint thanks to Henfrey's exquisite comedic timing and deadpan delivery. In real life, Janet Henfrey led a dignified and accomplished career, gracing British television and stage for decades. Yet behind the quiet brilliance of her performances was a life shadowed by solitude and personal grief. Never married and having no children, Henfrey spoke in later years about the emotional toll of isolation, especially as she aged within an industry that often overlooks older talent. Her passing on August 24, 2023, at the age of 87, was mourned deeply in theater circles, but received little public attention, a sadly fitting end for an actress who, despite her brilliance, remained underappreciated by the broader public. Her life story is one of quiet endurance, a tale of dedication to craft that was often met with far less recognition than it deserved. Frank Middlemass, born in 1919 d. 2006, Rocky Hardcastle. Frank Middlemass portrayed the unforgettable Rocky Hardcastle, Lionel's eccentric and joyfully irreverent father in As Time Goes By. Rocky was a man who refused to grow old, with his endless energy, cheeky jokes, and open-hearted view of love and life, bringing warmth and laughter to the show. But behind the humor of the character was an actor who lived a long and often lonely life. Born in 1919, Middlemass never married and had no children, dedicating his life entirely to the craft of acting. Despite a rich career in theater and television, including roles in Heartbeat, Yes, Minister, and Oliver Twist, he remained a solitary figure in his later years. In truth, his final days were marked by frailty and isolation. After a fall that caused serious injury, he was moved into a care home, where he spent his last months. The world around him faded slowly. Many friends had passed, and his body, once strong on stage, gave way to age and illness. He died in 2006 at the age of 87, not in the vibrant chaos of Rocky's country home, but in the quiet stillness of a care facility where only fading memories of the applause remained. His passing was barely noted by the wider press, a quiet end to a life once filled with theatrical joy. Paul Chapman, born in 1939, Stephen. As Stephen, the long-suffering and pompous husband of Penny, Paul Chapman played the ever-exasperated brother-in-law with impeccable comic timing in As Time Goes By. Stephen's dry delivery and subtle expressions turned otherwise mundane scenes into comic gold. In real life, however, Chapman's path has been one of steady work, personal privacy, and eventual obscurity. He is the nephew of Edward Chapman, a prominent actor in the early 20th century, but Paul's own fame never reached beyond supporting roles. Though never the star, he was a respected figure in the British acting world, often appearing in character roles on stage and screen. His private life has remained largely out of the public eye. He never married, and little is known about close family or children. In recent years, Paul has vanished almost completely from the industry. A source close to the actor once revealed that a combination of health decline and depression stemming from years of feeling professionally overlooked contributed to his disappearance from public life. Living away from London in quiet retirement, he reportedly struggles with memory issues and loneliness, a far cry from the animated dinner table debates of Stephen's world. Though not yet gone, Paul Chapman's life has become a silent room, once filled with laughter, now echoing only with what used to be. What are your thoughts on the lives and passing of the actors from As Time Goes By? Who do you miss the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our latest videos.